Hi there. Can you hear me? Okay. I have something that you might be interested in seeing. It's a little piece of papyrus. It's the verso of Papyrus 115. It's the end of chapter 13, the book of Revelation. It was found by Grenfell and Hunt in Oxyrhynchus in Egypt. The form would have been the codex form. It was already in book form, and this dates to around 250 AD, somewhere in there. If you look closely, I don't know how close I can get here without causing problems, you can see that the number of the man who is known as the Antichrist is put into Greek numbers. It's not written out as I believe John would have written it out, but it was put into abbreviated form. Nomina Sacra is usually the technical name for it. I'll point it out. You see those three letters there that look like our X, I, and C? They're actually Chi, Iota, Sigma. Strangely enough, that does not spell out 666. That number there is 616. Now, to be upfront, Irenaeus argued against anything but 666. He said that John had informed people that the number was 666. So how did we get a codex going back to 250 of the book of Romans, of the book of Revelation, this Papyrus 115? How do we get it having a 616 instead of a 666? The common thought is that Jewish Christians knew to put the Greek into Hebrew to add up the numbers that would have spelled the name of the man. Interestingly enough, I don't know if this is in focus, but right above the 666 is the word man. It's in the genitive of a man. It obviously is part of that verse, which is it's the number of a man. That's also abbreviated. You can tell they're abbreviated by the dark lines that are written over them. But back to the 616. If the early Jewish Christians knew to put what John had written in the book of Revelation into Hebrew letters, 666 would have added up to Neron Caesar, Neron Kaiser. It's pretty well accepted that the nun, the second nun in Neron, would not have been needed, and if it was dropped, the nun amounts to the number 50, and so you would have come up with 616 instead of 666. I think more probable is that by the time of Irenaeus, and certainly Tertullian, that theologians were already writing and arguing in Latin, and when you transliterate the Latin of Nero Caesar, uh, there is no nun in that transliteration, and that would give you, by transliterating the Latin for Nero Caesar, that would have given you the 616, and then therefore the form of the Greek shown here, the chi iota sigma, would have looked like this. Now, some people have said that when you see the chi xi sigma, the gematria form for 666, it looks like the Arabic for Allah. But I don't think that's the case, because I think John would have written out the 666 hexikasioi, hexikanta, hexi. And so that certainly wouldn't look like Allah, because it would be 3 separate, fully written out words. But anyway, I thought you'd like to see this facsimile, obviously. The real one is in Oxford. Grenfell and Hunt would have spent their winters, the winters in Egypt at Oxyrhynchus, and then would have sent the material back to Oxford and then looked through it. And this is one of the pieces that was found much later in their collection and finally translated. And there are still many pieces that haven't been looked at, put together, and translated, sitting over in Oxford, part of the corpus of material from Oxyrhynchus, which basically was, the time Grenfell and Hunt got there, a garbage heap. And they dug these pieces of material out from the sands of Egypt, and that's what brought us this little piece. This is about 2 1/4 inches, and shows us some of the ways that the beast, the number of the man, was thought about early on in Christianity. And it makes very good sense if they had the common understanding that the beast would have been Caesar, Nero, or someone like him. Many early Jewish Christians believed that Nero somehow was going to return and do his dastardly deeds once again, but all we need is someone like him, a beast of a person, an animal of a man, who carries out the same process that Nero did to eliminate his enemies. But here is a piece of papyrus that speaks from long ago, telling us how the early Christians viewed the number of the man, and how, because of the different languages and the different use of the alphabet for numbering, we have a piece that gives us 616, which is fine for Nero Caesar in Latin, as opposed to 666, chi xi sigma, which is the gematria for Nero Caesar in, if it's translated into Hebrew. And they seem to have known to do this. And so I hope this piece is in focus. I know it's been moving around, but here it is. I don't know if you can get a screenshot of it, but if you can, God bless you, and enjoy your evening. Good night.